Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance in Long Beach. Today we are joined by a member of the Board of Trustees of the Long Beach Community College District. He is Jeff Kellogg. Are you Vice President?
Yes, I am.
Vice President of the Board of Trustees. I want to speak with you about community college funding. No doubt a lot better than 5 years ago.
Correct.
No doubt. And we know that Governor Brown has proposed a budget which funds K-14 education up about $2 billion from last year. That is, of course, all of K-14, up 55% from 2011. What do you think?
Well, we've said this repeatedly, that with the Governor Brown, it wasn't a bad budget, wasn't a great budget, but it was a budget that we are anticipating no increase on our students for their tuition. That's important, so it'll still stay at $46 a unit, where the UC Cal States are increasing.
Yeah, can we talk about that?
And the other thing, though, on this,
please.
though, the critical, that's a positive. The negative was that with the Prop 98 funding that we always talk about, that share, and we've never quite figured it out, and I don't think anyone, except for a few people, really understand how it is funded, but our percentage for community colleges has been reduced in that formula with Prop 98. So that means the community colleges in California are going to get less money allocated per Prop 98. But overall, you can't complain.
Right. Now, Prop 98, of course, requires that 40% of the state budget go to K-14, is it?
K-14, and there's a formula inside that formula.
Right. It's a little tricky, but I want to ask you about the UC and CSU system, because as we speak today, it appears that they are heading towards a tuition increase. How is it that they're heading toward a tuition increase, but the community colleges are not? Is it because they're part of the K-14 formula, so their funding's different?
Yeah, part of it is because when people talk to us, whenever there's increases in community colleges, they immediately come to the elected body and say, why did you do this? And we said, we don't do this. The funding for community colleges is based through the state legislature. So it comes down to if the state legislature wants to increase the funding or not, and they don't have an appetite for that because they've been putting a lot of pressure on the Cal State and the UC system about not doing that. So it'd be somewhat hypocritical if they say that to the other two higher educational systems, and then the one for community college, they also increase. So right now there's no increase on the basic $46 per unit for a community college student.
I want to ask you about what's known as the Middle Class Scholarship. That was a program that was put into place about 3-4 years ago, and it provides for truly scholarships for folks in the middle class, making, I think, up to $160,000 a year. There's a sliding scale and stuff. Do community colleges, do they qualify for the middle class scholarship?
Well, we qualify, but really our funding for community colleges is based, when you're looking at it, is through the federal government with the Pell Grants. That's really the nexus of funding coming to the state of California and then drops down into community colleges. So really most
I think it is most.
Most means to some people 50%, but it's actually more 70 to 80% of our students are really on financial aid.
But the governor has talked about eliminating the middle class scholarship. And I'm wondering if that happens, would that be a hit to the students in the community college system in California? Or is what you described because of Pell Grants not as much?
Yeah, I don't think not as much. Simply because we are so much with what they call BOG waivers. That's where students are applied, they financially needs assistance. The board stands for Board of Governors waiver. And then you have the Pell Grants, which is the scholarship money. So that type of thing does not have as direct of an impact on community colleges. But of course, if that impacts people that are intending to go to the UC or the Cal State, then they're going to probably have to reconsider community colleges.
You mentioned the Pell Grants, and I know that recently you went to Washington, D.C.
Yes, I did.
As part of a national conference for community college trustees. And with a new administration in Washington, there's always interest as to how the community college system will be treated nationwide. What did you learn? Do we know if the new administration is bullish on Pell Grants or bullish on community college funding?
It really was, it was a lot of things happening. The normal Association of Community College Trustees, a national organization, they traditionally meet at this time of year. The problem this time of year is that Congress is really doing a lot of things, not legislatively, more internally. They're getting all their policies and procedures in place. So it was really an opportunity with a new administration to see if they have any interest. But at the same time, the Secretary of Education was still going through a confirmation process. What we did learn from that is that we learned that we don't really know what to expect yet from the administration as far as community colleges. The Pell Grant and the Perkins Act, which goes more towards the trades. Those areas, we believe, are still going to be treated the same, but we really don't know. And so the trip was interesting because new administration, but as I came back from there, had a lot more questions than answers, and it's just the beginning of the process is what I found out.
Now, the prior administration had been talking about free community college.
Right.
They were looking at modeling after a proposal out of Tennessee, out of Chicago. The former Second Lady Jill Biden has been a big advocate, still is a big advocate. We know that there's the Los Angeles College Promise, the Long Beach College Promise that provides some free access. What do you think about the longevity of the prior administration's proposal for free community college?
Well, actually, when people asked me, and I think you and I had this conversation, it was done at the very end of the administration for the Obama
years.
Very strong, and I just don't think it's going to have the traction to get what they would probably want. The fact, though, in California is such a unique system that we do many of the things they were already talking about as far as at one time California was free for community colleges. So as far as that keeping the momentum, I don't have high expectations for that in particular. So,
but let me ask you about promise programs. I think Long Beach was the pioneer.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
And a lot of folks are copying Long Beach. God bless them. Yeah. I guess that's not a problem. And of course, the promise programs being you get a year free, or each program is different.
Right.
And so we now see the Los Angeles College Promise, the San Luis Obispo College Promise, the South Bay College Promise. San Francisco,
they're all starting.
Yeah, is looking to do completely
complete free.
Yeah. So let's talk about California then. What do you think about the move, either through promise programs, specific college boards, or statewide?
Well, the biggest emphasis with the new chancellor, former Long Beach
Eli Oakley,
president Eli Oakley, he is really strong on what we call pathways, and that is to having pathways determined for students to work through the elementary school, the middle schools, high schools, into community colleges, into colleges. You need to have a clear pathway, what you're trying to accomplish, how you're going to get those things accomplished, which will hopefully shorten the time of, we refer to community colleges as a 2-year institution, at least I used to.
Sure.
Now it's, and there was a line in a comical movie called Animal House where the actor John Belushi says 7 years of college down the drain. Unfortunately, the average timeline of a student at community college now is to that punchline. We're trying to do quicker, and the pathways is the one way to do that.
But let me ask you about the pathways, because I'm not aware of another promise program that takes you from high school to community college to 4-year institution.
Correct.
Because you connect with CSULB. Are you aware of another program like that? I can't think of one.
Because ours started over 10 years ago. Ours is much more mature, and we have a lot of we have a lot of benefits. We have one large Long Beach Unified School District. We have one large Cal State University. So we have a lot of things going in our favor. But the answer to your question is no. Long Beach is clearly way ahead of everyone else on those. In that
Do
area.
you believe that that really should be the future of these programs, where there's a tri-linkage, high school, community college, and a public or maybe even private institution, whatever it may be?
Yeah, no, it definitely is, because students cannot, for many reasons, can't just sit in school and take up a chair and not have an idea where they want to go. We don't have that luxury anymore, and so it forces people to understand they have many social or economic challenges as well, different than when I was in school probably. So, but at the same time, we have to aggressively keep moving the students forward, and that's what really it all works. California, though, has their own system. Full back to the federal government. They have a part in our funding with the Pell Grants and things of that nature, but at the same time, it really is driven by California. But it was interesting to go to Washington, D.C. and be there during the first week. And
I can imagine.
All I found out is my brother ended up being more in the spotlight than I was.
Your brother, of course, the Chief of Staff to the National Security Advisor. Congratulations on that. He is Jeff Kellogg. He is the Vice President of Long Beach Community College District. My name is Brad Pomerance. It's Local Edition.